Attendance is on the client at 7 and 6. There must have been at least 12 of those. That's, let's call it 10 guineas. Must find a replacement clerk. So inconvenient when they pass away. No notice whatsoever. Utterly inconsiderate. Ah, excellent, my good Garforth. Kind of you to come all this way. Sit down. Can I tempt you in a glass of gin?
Mr. Barnes, I know you're only offering me a drink because you have one yourself. You also know very well that I do not imbibe liquor in any form. It would save time at our meetings if you simply helped yourself before we start.
Indeed. Well, I thought I'd ensure that you'd not changed your mind since the last time I inquired.
My clients do not pay me to change my mind. I'm afraid the attitude has become somewhat ingrained. Now, shall we proceed with the business in hand?
Yes, of course. The business in hand. Well, it seems that the case of Jackson versus Hodgson and Richardson grinds on.
Now, it would be more accurate to refer to it as Jackson versus Hodgson. Now, you see, John Richardson, well, he has been dead these past 3 years.
You're quite right. Jackson versus Hodgson is. Now, I thought that we should meet to discuss how we can best serve both our client's cause.
Our client, that is Mr. William Hodgson, and his idiot of a son, Tommy, would be best served by dropping the matter and settling with Miss Jackson.
Well, you have a point there. But one that's unlikely to do as much good, eh?
Well, so you keep saying. What is it you want to discuss now?
I thought we should consider our long-term strategy in the conduct of the defence. It may be that our best interests and that of our clients are not necessarily one and the same.
Now, what are you suggesting?
My dear Garforth, how long have we worked together?
About 2 years now.
In that case, I think it's time we took our professional relationship to a new level. This case represents a significant opportunity for us.
And what sort of opportunity?
To increase our professional standing, of course, and, in the process, to get rich. What sort of other opportunity is there?
And how do you plan to do that?
I have numerous stratagems that I have honed over many years. Why, only last week, I billed a client because I had crossed the road to inquire after their health.
And how much did you charge them for such an essential service?
£0.50.
£0.50?
Yeah, well, you see, it wasn't actually my client over the road. After all, I then had to recross the road to continue my client's business.
Now, you're obviously a master at such matters. Well, you do think it is still possible for us to win this case?
Whether we win or not, it is of little consequence.
What on earth are you suggesting, that we deliberately lose? I at least have a reputation to consider.
My dear fellow, don't be so quick to misunderstand. Yes, we could win this case by simply ensuring that the protagonist is worn out. However, if we simply prolong it to the maximum duration, it will enable us to achieve an even more important goal.
Which is?
To extract, in fees, as much money out of the fortune of the late Reverend Jackson as possible.
I see. And your approach is?
Let me explain another way. I'm sure you'll appreciate my strategy. When you take instruction on a client's case, they trust that you will act with all appropriate haste. But in law such haste is just a waste. The costs increase and seldom cease. When you take to court a client's brief, you can gather riches quite beyond belief. In the first case, you must clear everything, from letters that you read to tiny bits of string. For with every
evidence, arguments and precedents that bear much greater weight than truthful evidence.
When you come to court in a case of tort,
You claim for harm and great alarm.
when you bring to law a client's brief,
You must make them cry with quite unnatural grief.
Interrogatories, they are such a bore, and that is why this kind of work we shall ignore. Let us make such use of laws obtuse.
Appeals we'll lodge and summons dodge. In this case, our client will defend.
And we'll judge our client till the bitter end. Oh dear, I've come over all strange. I think another gin's in order. Can you do the honours, by the gaffer? To success.
And to the ruin of Miss Margery Jackson.
Miss Jackson, you're uncommonly early to your post this morning.
It is strange, sir. In the years since we first met, I have never known your name.
My name's of no importance. It's been 16 years, has it not, since I first advised you of the pitfalls of bringing a case to Chancery.
I believe you are right. And in those 16 years, there have been many times when I wish I had followed your advice and returned to Carlisle.
Are you no closer to conclusion?
I am closer, but no nearer. In those 16 years, 5 of my adversaries have died. And there have been many of those times when I thought this suit would see me off as well.
So what brings you here so early this morning?
The last defendant, that so-called Squire Tommy Hodgson, promised me a bond of £10,000. He then absconded on a ship bound for Newcastle with a fancy woman in tow. I am glad he has finally met with his maker.
So what happens now?
Well, now there is a whole new set of defendants, each ready and eager to claim their inheritance. But I am tired, sir. Tired of litigation and tired of life.
And if you release yourself from this case?
Then I will have failed.
And who will have triumphed?
My greedy brother, his perjuring wife, wily Bill Hodgson, useless John Richardson, oily Garforth, grasping Barnes, that sponger Squire Tommy, and all the rest of the idle sponging sinners.
So, do you understand why you must see this case to its conclusion?
You are quite right, sir. No, I cannot give up now, not when we are so close to an end.
My final advice is that compromise and conciliation can often succeed where conflict and confrontation fail. As when we first met, I wish you well in your endeavours.
And again I thank you, sir, though I do not know what I ever did to deserve such kindness.
Let us say I've admired you from afar.
And I have been oblivious. Thank you.
Miss Jackson, your attorney told me you would be here.
I do not believe I know you, madam.
I am Judy Hodgson. I've been asked to represent the defendants and to speak with you to see if there's a possibility of agreement to end this case.
I will end this case when I am paid the £1,550 and interest in full. The total amount currently stands at £7,205 and is increasing daily.
I was not aware it was so much.
No, your attorneys have kept you deliberately ignorant.
Miss Jackson, The defendants wish to meet with you. They're all gathered here today.
They are only gathered here because I had the bailiff sent to arrest them.
Their lives have been made wretched by this situation. They're more than willing to reach agreement. Let me bring them to you.
Fine, but I shall only serve to make their situation more starkly illuminated.
Miss Jackson, are you well? You have something of a glow about you.
Mr. Mounsey, I believe the defendants may be ready to concede. I think the threat of arrest has focused their minds.
That would indeed be very good news. Now, what do you plan?
Is the Lord Chancellor sitting today?
He is due to appear as soon as he has breakfasted, madam.
And we are the first case to be heard.
That is why I am here.
Excellent.
Miss Jackson, apart from the miners, all the beneficiaries of Squire Tommy's will are here.
And the odiferous Mr. Garth, I see. Let me have a look at you all.
Make way for Lord Luce, the Lord Chancellor.
Today, my attorney will confirm that I am proceeding with the case of Jackson versus Mitchell and Hodgson. You are all named as defendants in this act. Let me explain to you your chances of success. In the 16 years since I began this case, not 1 point has been won by the defendants. Every hearing has ended in a dismissal and awarded me my costs. I have proof that my brother's money was loaned out at 5%. Let your consciences be your judges and ask yourself, do you want to spend the next year being chased by the bailiffs? For I've had arrest warrants served on you once and I will not hesitate to do so again. But I am prepared to offer a compromise. If the trustees will give up all of the estate owed from William Jackson, then I will give each legatee the sum of £100.
Oh, Miss Jackson, that's more than any of us expected from Squire Tommy's will. I'm sure my relatives will agree. Yes.
Now, Miss Jackson, your offer is indeed very generous, but I'm afraid as a representative of the trustees, I cannot accept it. You see, 3 of the legatees are still minors, and as such, an arrangement that you have suggested may not be to their advantage.
Fool! If it were an advantage to the rest, surely it is an advantage to them also!
Madam, I say there can be no agreement.
One moment. I have here something that may have a bearing on this matter. I have the results of an investigation in which I instigated into the accounts of Squire Tommy Hodgson.
And from where did you gain such intelligence? Dixon? Is that you? What are you doing here? Why aren't you back at my office?
I am no longer in your employment, sir.
Why did you let the plaintiff have the attachment when I told you not to?
Because they have spoken for and demanded it. You should have sent them your answer earlier. We're all sick and tired of this scandalous suit. Pay the money at once and be done with it.
If these results are to be believed, then the situation is more dire than I had expected. It seems that Squire Tommy has spent more than £3,000 in 3 years. Therefore, there is no money left in the estate to pay my client her due.
Case of Jackson and Thurlow, case of Jackson and Hodgson and Mitchell is called.
Speak, Mr. Garforth. The funds you defend are being squandered, your reputation ruined, and you are about to be called to court. My client has offered the sum of £100 to each legatee to settle a case. What say you, sir?
I tell you again, sir, while there is breath in my body, there will be no agreement.
Case of Jackson versus Hodgson and Mitchell. Attorneys, please.
Really, this constant obfuscation is becoming intolerable! Ugh.
Hey, come and get your bits and shoes by any fair and get them on our
Shoes and bits, by young
Come and get your bits and shoes.
Reach in a goose grease with every
I don't know what it is with Carlisle Market, but there seem to be more shoe stalls every year.
Well, maybe things will change a bit once we get that new shopping emporium we keep talking about.
Hello.
Oh, just talking about that covered market.
Oh, yes. Yes, the covered market. Well, the covered market, it'll be 100 years before the council gets round to building that.
Oh, it won't.
Mark my words,
Oh.
I think so.
I hear there's talk of knocking down the city walls as well.
You can't just go knocking walls down. My opinion, it's best left. You've got to look after what you've got.
Too true. Hey, look out. Here comes some interesting gossip if I'm not mistaken.
Betty, what news do you bring? Has there been a run on the bank? Or are the Scots on the march again?
No. I've just had word from my husband. He's just back from Penrith. Now, you know me. I'm not one for gossip. But apparently, there's this real flashy coach on its way to Carlisle.
Coach? You mean a stagecoach? There's never any misters who travels in one of them. No one does.
Oh, no. This is private, custom made. My husband's told us all about it.
Well, come on then, tell us.
Well, it's right posh and it's bright red. But you'll never guess who's on it. Margery Jackson!
Who? I've never heard of her.
Margery Jackson? Oh, Miss Jackson. That Miss Jackson. The sister of the Reverend William Jackson. The daughter of the Mayor of Carlisle and the Drake.
Oh, that Miss Jackson.
Ah, you'd only been there last when it all started. She got right nasty, she did. She took the gentle Reverend to court. And like as not, it killed him, it did.
Really? She sounds horrid.
She was.
Well, it sounds like she's herited his money too, eh?
Aye, she must have. I don't know yet, but we'll wait and see when she arrives.
Oh, here comes one now.
She must have his money to have herself something as grand as that. That's what I call a proper coach.
Aye, see? I told you it was bright red. And just look at them two beautiful bay mares that's pulling it.
Oh, it's one of them Broughams that's got plate glass windows.
Will she be needing them, what with the state of our roads, eh?
Well, there's a thing. That would certainly make print in the local newspaper. If we had one.
You know, I've not seen her for years. She used to be quite pretty back then.
Oh, she
I
did.
wonder what she's like now.
Or if she'll be calling on anyone.
Miss Jackson, Mayor's daughter, is returning here in great luxury to Scotch Street, her father's drapery, to reclaim it as her rightful property. Can you think of what she looks like? Does she need a fleet of servants? Will she call on the great houses?
Will she keep in tweaks of servants?
Is she mean or is she generous? Will she give to those in hardship? Madam or my ladyship, what she chooses for enjoyment.
Opportunity to pocket.
Can we hope for her employment? Will she patronize our markets?
Will she answer our inquiries?
Should we treat her like an equal? Should we ask her to our soirees? Do we know her or her cousin? She may have some good relations. Does she want a male companion? Should we
Margery. I trust I had a pleasant journey.
Travelling in one's own carriage is infinitely preferable to a stagecoach or to walking.
I'm glad to hear it, and I trust thy victory will ensure that you never have to undertake so hazardous a journey again.
Well, I should certainly hope not. No, now that I have possession of my father's house, Carlisle will be my home.
I am glad to hear it. Though I should warn you that memories here are long, so do not expect such a warm welcome.
Well, I can but hope that a few embers of friendship and kinship can be rekindled back into life. After all, this was my hometown, and being comfortably one off does grant one a certain cachet.
I should also warn thee that there are those who may seek to take advantage of thy riches.
What, a fancy man trying to worm his way into my affections? I scarcely need think I need worry on that account. No, you are quite right, Joseph, as you always have been. What a true friend you have been, working tirelessly for me for 13 years.
Madam, I am sustained by my belief in the justice of thy cause.
Well, then you must be assured of a reward in heaven for your work here on earth, for I have both my justice and my inheritance.
I do not presume to any reward in heaven.
Well, then you must be assured of an earthly one for your work on my account. We will discuss the terms of improving your engagement later.
The only improvement I require, Margery, is thy friendship.
Well, we will talk more on remuneration at the house. Let us go there now. My house, where I am at last to be mistress.
Patriot, there's not many left now. Only one or two left now.
Leave off, you mutt. That's my dog's dinner. Seeing I'm paying 3 shillings in tax for her, I don't expect to have to feed her as well. Oh, let's have a bit of fun with old Margery. Go on then. Miser, miser, how we despise her! Get away, you little devils! Leave me alone! my rent? Come here. Come here. Where's my rent, you good-for-nothing wastrels?
We're doing everything we can to find money, Miss Jackson. Have pity on our poor bairns. We're having to take food out of their mouths.
And how many toads do you have now? 5, 6?
Well, have heart, Miss Jackson. It ain't easy, no mill's closed.
Closed or not, you had better get that money to me at my parlour window. And pay on time next month. Hey, and make sure that it is in gold or silver. I want none of that useless paper money.
Madam, may I interest you in contributing to the excellent cause of the charitable school for the daughters of poor freemen?
Daughters of poor freemen? What idiocy is this? They should be set to work and give up such lofty ideas of education.
Well, alternatively, madam, may I interest you in donating to Lady Glenorchy's dissenting chapel?
Madam, there are quite enough non-conformists in this city, and I certainly do not intend to contribute to encourage them further.
Miss Jackson, is there no other cause that would secure your patronage?
I contributed 2 guineas 5 years ago to the subscription for the 42nd Regiment of Foot. It's my brother's old regiment. Oh, now be off with your daughters of poor freemen and your dissenting chapels.
The Patriot! There's only 1 or 2 left now.
Manservant, shilling a week and all meals included.
A shilling a week? I don't get out of bed for less than 2 florins.
All meals included? My cousin wanted for Crockett surgery a few years back. Nearly starved to death. Smallest leg of mutton in all Carlisle market to feed you, him, and the cat for a week.
I need more than a shilling to work on me, Miss Jackson.
Grateful wretched. I hope you'll be able to find employment and end up in the workhouse.
Rather going back to Rennick than be in her service.
Rennick? I think I'll stick to Bookhouse.
Ah, trash! Trash! Upstart. Tradesmen's wives raising the prices in the market with their pockets full of money. Trash!
Ah, Miss Jackson. How nice to meet a neighbour while out and about.
And just when I thought my day couldn't get any worse, I find you, Mr. Jolly. So, will you be writing up this meeting for your Carlisle journal? You seem to like recording all my comings and goings.
I am merely a conduit for stories that my readers find useful and interesting. You'd be surprised how much twittering goes on in Carlisle.
I scarcely see why your readers will be interested in such trivia, such as the fact that I have had my windows washed.
Because, madam, it allows them to see in for once.
In that case, do not expect them to be washed again. I have no desire to be gawped at, least of all by either of you.
We're not prisoners in our house. It's not our fault if our house overlooks yours.
I say this, Mr. Jolly. Take care with what you print. Otherwise, one day, you might find yourself somewhere you very much regret.
I thank you for your concern, Miss Jackson, but I must write. Viva the freedom of the press, will I say. Good day to you, madam.
I wonder what they'll find to write about when I am dead.
Patriot! Not many left now.
I remember that day well when they returned to the city. How happy I was to be back in Carlisle.
Oh, Joseph. I returned with such high hopes. I believed that I would just be accepted back into normal society and live the life that I should have always had. But it did not happen.
I believe they were those that held thee responsible for the death of thy brother, and for that of Squire Tommy.
Aye, and as likely as not, for all the deaths in Carlisle from cholera, even though I was in London at the time.
As I said at the time, memories are long here in Cumberland. Now, I hate to press thee, but we really must proceed with the business in hand. when you were taken ill earlier this week, thy will was still unfinished and unsigned.
Oh, I haven't seen that will for 30 years. Oh, remind me of the bequests.
Well, I can confirm that most of thy beneficiaries are deceased. Except one, a Miss Bright of Windsor, a milliner to whom thou bequeathed the sum of £200. I continue my inquiries, but so far there's been no word of her.
Miss Bright? Oh, yes. She was indeed so kind to me. But I have not heard of her in years. And I should so very much like to.
What ails thee, Margery? Thou seems upset.
Oh, Joseph. You, my oldest friend, yet I have kept a secret from you for so long.
Surely this does not concern Miss Bright?
She was a small part of it. When I first met her, she was apprenticed to a dressmaker, not a milliner. She measured me for a dress. A Court Mantua dress of blue and silver brocaded silk taffeta. A dress in which I invested all my dreams.
I know of no such outfit. I mean, surely such a dress is for a married lady to be presented at court.
It was once meant for a married lady. I brought it here with me in my trunk. Oh, I couldn't bear to have it destroyed, even after everything else was in ruins. There was a time when Carlisle was in uproar, before my brother William died, when English hearts quaked with terror. William came to try to persuade me to leave the city before the enemy arrived. At least, at first, I thought them the enemy. I'm talking about the Jacobites.
Margery, where the devil are you, sister?
I'm in the front parlour, William, where I usually am.
You are to come away at once.
And why is that? I would have thought you were the one in more danger, with the enemy looking for members of the Cumberland Lighthorse industry such as yourself.
It is not safe here in the city. Do not jest with me, madam. When I heard that you were no longer at nunnery with your Agliamby cousins, I ran here in great haste through the winter snow.
And what made you go to such lengths?
To escort you safely out of the city before the Jacobites take possession. We do not have much time.
And there was me thinking you were suddenly racked with guilt over the £200 owed to me from our mother's estate.
Do not trifle with me, madam. You obviously do not realise the peril that you are in. These Jacobites are worse than savages. They are cannibals and Catholics.
And which, dear brother, do you fear the most?
There is no comparison. Cannibals consume only the body, whereas Catholics...
I don't think you need worry for either my body or my immortal soul. I am am sure both shall remain in Violet, and I fully intend to remain here in Carlisle. You may return to Croglan Hall in the loving arms of your dear Margaret.
Why do you persist with this ridiculous notion? You are to come away at once!
William, there is good money to be had here. I've already made quite a few pounds renting out rooms to the invalids, and I am sure when they arrive the Jacobites will require accommodation too.
You are renting rooms in my house to soldiers?
Until the terms of our mother's will has been settled, I prefer to think this as our house. And to answer your second point, they were officers and perfectly polite.
Margery, a white flag flies above the castle. The young pretender marched this morning from Brampton. Now, are you coming, yes or no?
No! I would rather look the enemy in the eye than be thought of as a coward.
In that case, I take my leave. I fear we may not meet again.
He will be back when the danger has passed and the rents need collecting. Now, what is that noise from the marketplace?
Accept these keys to our city as tokens of our surrender.
I accept these keys and promise to protect all those who lay down their arms. Now, I wish to hear a declaration of His Majesty King James III.
I have the man here, Your Highness. This is John Pearson, the town clerk. He will make the declaration. Go ahead, man.
Your Royal Highness, I explained to the Duke yesterday, only yesterday, that I have never before proclaimed a monarch and know of no proper form for it.
Yet you managed well enough yesterday, despite your protestations. Or do you need my pistol to remind you again?
My dear Perth, remember, the siege of Carlisle is over, so we must treat all its citizens with kindness. Go ahead, Mr. Pearson, in your own time.
I, James John Pearson, clerk to the City of Carlisle Corporation, in the year of our Lord 1745, hereby solemnly declare King James III to be the true and rightful ruler of Great Britain and Ireland. God save the King.
God save the King!
That is quite excellent. Now, Mr. Mayor, do you have a commendation for my office as a mayor?
There are lodgings for your highness and party at Highmore House, the other side of Market Square.
As long as it is bigger than that cupboard I slept in Brampton. Ah, and also, could we have a dance in 2 days' time? I'm sure you can arrange that for the men and us, for having a dance and sleeping in you know what.
Now, MacDonald, let's find you some accommodation. If you want to be not too far from His Highness, I presume.
That would be greatly appreciated, your lord. There'll be much to attend to in these next few days.
So, Mr. Mayor, what accommodation you have for this fine officer? You'll need to be near Highmore House.
Mr. Mayor, sir, I know some excellent accommodation in Scotch Street. I think I know of just the place.
Quite excellent suggestion, my dear Pearson.
So, Mr. Bacchus, where are these accommodations?
I think they'll let the chatelaine herself explain. Miss Jackson? Miss Jackson, I assume you'll be looking for new lodgers?
I can find lodgers without any help from you, Mr. Backhouse.
Miss Jackson, we know of your enmity towards the office of mayor. Perhaps we could dispense with your antagonism while Carlisle is occupied?
Does it not occur to you that Carlisle would not even be occupied if you had applied yourself better to its defence?
Madam, I am tired and in need of accommodation. Do you have rooms that can be of use to us?
I do not, sir, for I, for one, do not welcome a conquering army.
Madam, if we were a conquering army, we would not need to seek your permission. You've got a spirited one there, MacDonald. Anyway, I'll doubtless see before His Highness's ball. Good day, gentlemen.
Madam, I do not wish to be of any convenience to you. Do you have a lodging where I could stay for a few days?
Please forgive me. I thought I was being asked to accommodate that other gentleman. A thought I did not relish.
I will agree that His Grace the Duke of Perth is not in a particularly good mood today. He's had the misfortune of being promoted to be in charge of the baggage train and artillery, and such a responsibility is not to his liking.
Well, if he does not like the responsibility, perhaps he should not have invaded us in the first place.
In fairness, neither the Prince nor the Duke have ever sought to spill a drop of English blood. They only wish for our great countries to be reunited under the same banner as King James VI.
Is that so? What of all the tales of unbridled savagery I hear towards the Highland masses?
Madam, I fear your mind may have been poisoned by such misleading stories. Do you truly believe that it would benefit our cause to hurt the people of Carlisle and confirm them as our enemies?
My brother certainly seems to think so. Mind you, he is more worried that you will try to secure my soul for the devil by forcing me to change my faith from that of the established church.
I cannot force someone to change their beliefs, for such a conversion is based on fear and has no foundation. It is only love that brings true acceptance.
You are an educated and eloquent gentleman, Mr.
MacDonald, Captain Ranald MacDonald, of Kinlochmaida, at your service, madam.
And I am Miss Margery Jackson.
Do you dance, Miss Jackson?
Dance? Why, I've had more dancing lessons than I care to remember. Why do you ask?
It would appear that His Highness is to have a dance at Highmore House, and I was wondering if you would do me the honour of accompanying me there.
That would be most agreeable. Now, please, if you will follow me, I will show you to your lodgings.
That impudent Duke showed me up in front of a mayor, even if he is a Scot. I'll have my revenge eventually, you mark my words. One day, her house will be flattened, and in its place will be a huge covered shopping arcade, like never seen before in Carlisle.
I shall ensure these instructions are passed on to your eminent successors. Ha ha!
What a wonderful night last night was. I have never danced so long or so effortlessly, and my red dress was a great success. No, my brother was quite wrong. The Jacobites are both charming and courteous, and their prince is truly regal. And that Captain Ranald MacDonald's wonderful dancer. I can hardly think of it. Oh.
Ah, my dear Miss Jackson, how wonderful it is to see you again this morning. I hope I'm not being too forward to inquire as to whether your pretty feet are not regretting the indelicate attentions of last night's dancing. We have been on a march for many days, and it takes time to change back to the steps of a courtly dance.
My feet? Well, you are the first man to ever call them pretty. Not that they have marched for as long or as far as yours have, Captain MacDonald.
Well, I'm glad that my compliment brings you such pleasure, but I do have news that I doubtless you will find less joyful.
What is it?
The Prince, my commander, is intending on pushing on to London. General Wade's army was held back by the snow last week, but we cannot count on such good fortune again. Cumberland has a far greater force to our south, and we must march on London. This morning.
So soon? I thought you would need at least a fortnight to rest and recover your strength.
An English army may be, but we're Highlanders. We're always ready.
So what is your plan?
I cannot tell you if it's detailed. Suffice to say that I shall be accompanying His Highness in the march south.
How long do you think it will take?
I believe that in just 3 short weeks we shall be in possession of London, and then King James III shall be crowned the rightful King of England.
I am so confused.
What confuses you, Miss Jackson?
My brother is a member of Cumberland's army. It is possible you may have to fight him.
We do not intend to fight Cumberland at all. We do not wish to harm any English soldier.
But how can that be? Are we English, not your enemy?
Our prince is very definite in this matter. To him, you're subjects, not enemies.
Your prince is an honourable man. You are all honourable men.
Madam, events over the last few days have been somewhat overwhelming. I hope I'm not being too presumptuous by saying that I do not want us to be distant in any way.
Nor I. Even this room feels like a chasm.
Then I can hope that I'm not mistaken. Even though it has only been days since you've taken me into your home, I am finding it increasingly unable to concentrate on a campaign that I helped start.
How strange. Only a week ago I was so afraid of your arriving, and now I am afraid of your departing.
Miss Jackson, even though it is strange and unexpected, I do not want us to part either. I want you to make me a promise. After our victory, I want you to... No, more than that. I desire that you be presented at the court of King James III as my wife.
Oh, Captain MacDonald, I will.
There must be a great way.
Yes, I hope so. I'm looking to have a dress made for my sister-in-law, but it must be a surprise.
Ooh, I love a surprise me. And what sort of dress would you like?
A very special dress, for she expects to be presented at court in London.
To His Majesty King George II. But what happens if the pretender wins? Won't we all have to become French or something even more dreadful?
I doubt it will come to that. I think the very worst that may happen is we may have to become Scottish.
Oof, well, that is a relief. I never could abide foreign food. Mind you, I am partial to a little bit of haggis.
Well, I'm sure you will not be required to give up our local delicacies.
I should hope not. I certainly wouldn't want to miss out on my Cumberland sausage.
Now, Miss...
Right, madam.
Miss Bright, what sort of dress would you recommend?
Why, nothing short than a full Court Mantua dress, madam.
How large is such a dress?
Well, 4 foot across is so very 1730s. This season, we're looking at 6 foot across. If they're an inch...
Good grief, how does one make an entrance in such a creation?
Sideways? I imagine.
Of course. Do you have any materials you could show me?
Well, we've just had this new consignment directly from London. Proper French silk, that is. Just feel the quality.
French, you say?
Yeah.
I think there's been a mistake. This feels Italian.
Whoops! My mistake. You must know your materials, madam.
Well, I should hope so. My father was a draper.
Well, in that case, let me show you our proper French silk.
Oh, yes, that is beautiful. I adore that silver and blue brocaded taffeta. It would look wonderful trimmed with silver thread. I mean, my sister-in-law would love it. It's her favourite colour.
Well, she won't find anybody with the same in Carlisle because we've only 12 yards of this blue and silver taffeta left. So just enough for one dress.
Well, could you start using me for the measurements now?
Oh, certainly. If you'd just like to stand here, madam, we'll take your measurements. Mrs. Forrester, can you come and help, please?
This is a dress that is fit for a pretty girl to wear at court and be the jewel that lights up her husband's eyes.
It will give her such pleasure and show the world what we can do to dress the ladies of Carlisle in such a guise.
I imagine it would be like something wondrous and so dreamlike to be meeting with the king at the palace of St. James. All the gifts and the dances and all the yards with the candles and the gas that wax and steel cadence, glamorous. It would make a new white feel just so amorous. In this dress I am sure that the world will see by his sovereign, his majesty. I just say now this strides me, falling maiden with the sound of light tells me joy. Sometimes feel a bit rose, it's like the winds just and a courtyard pollution. Sing with us, don't cheer, just and all the ladies will adore.
6 foot wide skirts,
French flags, French champagne, takes time while standing with Scottish dress, questions of the press, we don't just show these ways, it's like taffeta. I have returned. Has it been a victory? Oh no, their faces are too grim for that. All the poor men, they look so cold and exhausted. Even the prince looks so tired. This is no victory, this is retreat. Oh, Ronald! You sit down. Are you hurt? Tell me.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Truly grateful. We have ridden all day in the sleet and the rain. Not since Kendal have even been in a house with a fire in it.
You need some drink. Whiskey, port.
Whiskey, please. Will take the chill from my bones. But I cannot stop long.
But you need to rest, to be cared for.
Oh, hark to that siren call of comfort and civilization. Nothing would gladden my heart more than to remain here with you, Miss Jackson.
Then why not stay? Surely you will need lodgings in Carlisle again.
The bulk of our army will not be stopping. Ever since we turned round the Derby, Cumberland has been close on our heels. They nearly caught us at Lowther, but we gave him a bloody nose at Clifton. Nevertheless, he's just a day's march behind us.
So you are to go.
I have some more welcome news here. I have been seconded to the Manchester Regiment, tasked with the defence of the castle. The Prince has bade us hold out here while he gets reinforcements from southern Scotland.
So you are to stay? Oh, what joy! I have missed you so desperately. And look what I have made.
That is the most beautiful dress. What is it for?
Do you not know? You asked me to be ready to be...
Do not weep, my dearest. We have not been defeated.
I'm suddenly so frightened for you. While you were away, I heard news that London was in a state of panic, and you seem to be advancing so rapidly. I truly thought you would succeed.
And at first so did we. We were disappointed at the lack of support from the English.
I am now even more afraid for you if you stay behind in Carlisle. You must go with your countrymen to Scotland. Do not stay here to be caught like a rat in a trap.
Oh, if it only were so easy. But do not fear. Cumberland has no artillery to retake the castle, and the Prince will be back within the week. And then the Duke will be driven back, and there will be nothing to stop us getting married.
Then for both our sakes, I will calm my fears and pray these things come to pass.
My dear Miss Jackson, I will treasure this moment until I return.
Goodbye, sweet Reynolds.
Goodbye, my love.
Let me in! Let me in! Open up, I say, in the name of His Highness, the Duke of Cumberland! Woman! Woman! What are you doing down there?
I tried to stop him, miss.
What is the meaning of this intrusion, Major Blackstone?
I'm lodging here, woman. I'll come and go in any damn room I like at any damn time I like. I've been about the King's business, do you hear? I'm not to be trifled with.
I would think that you have done enough King's business tonight and have had enough libation for at least 10 members of the King's army. Perhaps so many as 20. For every man in that number who calls himself a gentleman, which you, sir, clearly are not. And I also determined that which kept you out to this ungodly hour of the night was not so much your duty as your indulgence.
Well, late it may be, but it's a rare opportunity I get to combine business with pleasure. And a pleasure it was.
Well, whatever pleasure you have done in the King's name, pray do not presume to bring it back to my good house.
Good? Good? There's nothing good in this rat hole of a city. Apart from the whiskey. Are you going to get me that drink, woman? Oh, I'll be glad enough to be rid of this place. I'm gone tomorrow for more civilized parts.
Well, then tomorrow will be a most pleasant day for both of us.
The King! Scots whiskey tastes better than Scots blood. No, we did away with another batch of those traitorous, murderous Jacobites.
Jacobites? But those poor men were granted their lives. By the King, no less.
Yeah, it was more of a lottery, really. Luck of the draw. Some escaped the hangman's noose. The devil take them. But they'll be transported soon enough, and good riddance to them. The rest will be hung, drawn, and quartered as an example to encourage the others.
No, what you have done is an outrage. Who did you hang? Tell me, please. Who did you hang?
Why, missing a few friends, are we?
Major Blackstone, if you have any honour left in you at all, you will tell me who you executed.
Let me see. Today, we dealt with Innes, Lindsay, Park, Taylor and Dennard. That scoundrel Fitzgerald cheated us by dying in prison.
That was all of them.
Yes. No. We also did away with another of those stinking McDonalds. Ranulph, his name was. Ha! He wasn't so pleased with himself when we burned his guts in front of him. Oh, no, it's all clear, is it? Bit of a Scots lover, are we, Missy? Been finding out what a Scotsman keeps under his kilt, have we?
Leave his house! Leave his house at once, I say!
Am I some dog woman to be thrown out into the night? Ha! I think not. I'm staying here. Right here. And you with me. But don't worry. I've got a little something that'll make you forget your bonny Scotsman.
You wouldn't dare touch me.
You should remember, Missy, we are the victors, and to the victors go the spoils. Now come here! Oh, the little madam's got a couple of pistols, has she? I bet they're not even loaded. Unlike me. You witch! You vixen!
No, not another step. Come any closer, and next time it won't be your arm.
You heathen witch! When my officers, the King's officers, hear of this outrage, I'll come back here and
you won't. You're going to tell your murderous officer friends that you shot yourself in the arm while cleaning your pistol. Otherwise, I will go out into the street and tell everyone I know that you, Major Blackstone, were bested in a duel by a woman. Now get out of here!
I've never forgotten him. Thoughts of him, memories of him, have been coming to me more and more. I wasn't always this old woman, Joseph. I was young once, attractive, vital. I wanted love, Joseph. To marry, have children, to grow old with him. A rebellious Jacobite, yes. Oh, it is a secret I've kept alone for such a long, long time. Think, I would have turned traitor, turned on my country, my church and my king for him. Oh, in an instant. Oh, love is such a force, Joseph, such a force. Greater than any war, so much greater than any belief. Greater than even me. Me and my anger. You will think the less of me for this confession, but it is the truth, and I am not sorry for it. Oh, if I had my life over, it would just be the same. If he walked through that door this very minute, for my heart is his. Even now. I've shocked you, haven't I?
Oh, forgive me. Forgive me.
Joseph, what is the matter?
Margery, I don't quite know what to say.
Joseph, are you faint? Whatever has come over you?
It's not often that I'm stuck for words. I didn't know. quite how much love had affected thee, Margery. You speak in tone and word of love long lost as if they were the events of yesterday. I thought you hopeless, lost, as if love were not within you, but also beyond you, and you beyond its reach. But now I see it, you keep not a flickering wick inside you, but a fire that burns as warm and bright as any winter hearth. And one, I dare say, which has kept thee alive all these years. I've grown so very accustomed to thy manner and ways. I never thought to hear your heart utter such words. Love. Love.
Joseph, you are not yourself.
No, I fear I am not. You would have given up all you stood for this man.
Oh,
even abandoned the case.
Yes, of course. No price would have been too much for him. All that I had, all that I am, was his.
Then I fear I have done thee the most terrible wrong. Yes. I have committed the gravest disservice to thee, Margery, and you must please forgive me.
Joseph, whatever is the matter with you? What ails you that you should prevail upon me?
I have been an arrogant fool, Margery. I have judged thee, and I should not.
I'm not sure I understand.
Hast thou never stopped to question why a Quaker such as I should stay in thy employ all these years without some promise of reward?
We were agreed upon the sum of £500, were we not, Joseph? Are you minded to seek more from me at this late hour?
No, Margery, no. It was never about the money, Margery. It was about you. It was about you.
Are you confessing feelings for me, Joseph?
No, Margery, that's never my intent.
Then explain yourself.
Thy reputation preceded thee to London, and news of thy crusade for justice reached me by word of Robert Mancy, God rest his soul. It was he who expressed not a little distress and considerable concern for thy well-being. A young woman, unacquainted with the law or how years at trial could undo a person's soul. He was determined thou should not suffer that fate. It was he who first suggested that I befriend thee. He who engineered my first meeting with thee and my employment with thee. But I was no friend to thee. I judged thee by thy reputation preceding, and began a crusade of my own. By patient, faithful service I sought to show thee a light, to bring thee back from the edge, to redeem thee, Margery, to save thee alone. But now I see it, all I did was walk with thee to the precipice. Together we have sued and won. Thou hast grown very wealthy. Thou hast had success. But I have failed miserably. And all the time I had the very key and never even knew it.
Joseph, whatever it is that you are suffering in regret is not towards me, but yourself. I cannot forgive you when you have done no wrong to me warranting it. I walked my own path, and you, dear friend, walked with me. I could not have come this far without you. So, what is it that you are not telling me? Oh, come now, time is short.
I too have kept a secret. Margery, my confession will change things between us. But you must know that if it were in my power to change the past, I would make things different.
What is it? I demand to know!
There is a letter. A letter I have never shown thee.
Go on.
It arrived at thy house in Scott Street in May 1776, addressed to thee. It was handed to me, and assuming it to be a court case, I opened it without question. But it didn't concern the case at all. It was an intimate letter, from an elderly Scottish gentleman who chose to spend his dying attentions confessing his undimmed and eternal love for thee, even though he'd known thee only briefly while stationed here in Carlisle as a Jacobite officer. Not only does he speak of his deepest feelings, but also expresses a singular desire to be with thee, even for the remaining moments of his life. He closes in the certain knowledge that by the time the letter arrives, he would have passed on. It is styled the 18th Chief of Clanranald.
Chief of Clanranald? No, I know of no such. My true love was a MacDonald, Ranald MacDonald of Kinloch Moydart, and Captain.
It is styled the 18th Chief of Clanranald, formerly Captain Ranald MacDonald of the Clanranald Regiment.
Impossible! It is impossible! The letter cannot be from my Ranald MacDonald. He was executed on the carpentry at Brampton by that vile officer whom I shot.
No, Margery, thou art wrong. Ranald must have escaped.
No, I tell you, he is dead!
Somebody was executed on the Capon Tree that day, Margery. But it was not Ranald. It was not Ranald.
It cannot be! Why do you torture me with your stories? Your make-believe! Will you not leave me be? I had nothing true, nothing pure or sweet in my life, except for my memory of him. And you come to take that from me as well? I grieved him, Joseph, for months. I went without food, without sleep. Oh, for him I have hated and despised English rule.
Calm yourself. Calm yourself now.
So, he was alive all that time? Can there be any doubt?
None. None whatsoever.
Then why keep in such devotion? Did he not write to me sooner?
He was a fugitive, an outlaw. The letter tells how he escaped from Carlisle to Paris and then returned to an almost deserted island out in the Atlantic, far from English justice. He only dared write when he knew that death would claim him before his English pursuers.
So, he outwitted them to the end. Yes, that was my Ranald. Joseph, I want that letter. Joseph?
I should have brought it to you long ago. But it seems so improbable. I mean, Margery, thou in love. Obviously I thought it a forgery, an attempt on thy estate.
Yet you kept it and concealed it, even thinking it a forgery. Why? It makes no sense.
It was the way he described his love for thee, in such simple yet earnest terms. Each time I came to dispose of it, I would read it again, and then I could not. When I grew unsure in my quest to redeem thee, I would read it and be sustained by its words.
Those were my words! They were written for me, not you! They were for my strength, my comfort! You have stood between me and the only happiness that I have ever known! It was you, Joseph Bowman! You were my enemy all along! You denied me love!
I know! I'm sorry. But now thou seest it, thou must forgive me.
You will leave me, Joseph Bowman. Your services to me are at an end. Mr. Bowman, there remains only one final matter. You had my will brought here, did you not? Yes. I assume assuring your future was your truer motivation for your visit, ancient on me this cruel day.
Margery, I have told thee...
Mr. Bowman! I assume that it was the will of 1791, the revision, in which you are named sole beneficiary? Well, it shall not stand. Your services, such as they were certainly not worth any more than Mr. Mounty's insistence of £500.
Margery, I have never desired thy money, and nor do I now.
Very well, Mr. Bowman. Then I shall take you at your word. On your own insistence, you will be pleased to learn that this very day I have decided to omit you from my will altogether. You did not desire my money, so you shall have none.
Margery, please.
Mr. Bowman! I would prefer it if you would address me as Miss Jackson forthwith.
Margery, Miss Jackson, you must listen to me.
Mr. Bowman, I have listened to you for 40 years. What now would you wish to add? All I want to convey to you has been said. Now, I am tired. I would be grateful if you would leave me. Now, you may close the door as you go out.
Please. Forgive me.
Why? What good have you ever done me?
Something the matter, sir?
Thank you. I'm concerned to know... Did you suffer?
I wouldn't know, sir. After you left, it went dead quiet like. Asleep, we thought she were. Sudden like, she cried out. Doctor were called. So I let him in, just sat here, sir. He came dead quick, but it were too late. She'd already passed on.
Cried out, you say? In pain?
No, sir. She were calling her name.
I understand. It must have been Ranald.
No, sir. She were calling Joseph. Joseph. Over and over. Not loud. Quiet like. Mr. Bowman. It were you she were calling out for. But sir, you never came. Where were you? I didn't know what to do.
I'm sorry, Jade, to have left you in this situation. I should have been here. I went to fetch a letter for Miss Jackson.
She had letters for you too. On the side table. There.
For me? Thank you, Jane.
Mr. Bowman, you have been in my employ for 40 years. You always did what I asked of you uncomplainingly, faithfully and honourably. We had agreed I owe you nothing for your service, which, by your own confession, you rendered to me freely. Our business undertaking is therefore at an end, and I am not persuaded to pursue the matter further. However, in the same 40 years, I cannot ever recall an occasion upon which you asked anything of me for yourself, except for this day, when, for an error of judgment made in good faith, and so very long ago, you asked my forgiveness. You are truly a foolish man. I am dying, yet of all the things you could have requested of me, you chose only that which would keep a friendship between us alive even just a few more minutes, over any wealth I could bestow. Such foolishness I have found to be very rare amongst men. In but two, in fact, yourself and Captain Ranald MacDonald, where it keeps another title, Honour. Perhaps Ranald did find a way to be with me after all, through you. Though you knew not what you did, was it not his love for me that inspired you to continue with me to the end? If you purpose to show me a light, you must know you have shown me more than I ever deserved, and by it I perceive 2 clear steps on a path that perhaps may lead me away from the precipice you feared for me. Joseph Bowman, for any and all omission or mistake, I forgive you. And in view of the very great value you place upon my friendship to you, I have made an alteration to my will, which I trust you will find acceptable. You must consider this a token. I now know your friendship to me is worth far, far more. Your dear friend, Margery Jackson.
This day being the 4th day of February 1812, I do appoint Joseph Bowman of Botcherby my sole executor, to whom I give all my real and personal estates under whatsoever tenure of wheresoever situated, whether freehold, customary, copyhold, or whatever other tenure I give to you said Joseph Bowman to have and to hold.
Do you remember how we danced? Song upon song until there was no more music and dawn's first light broke through. 'Tis such a simple thing to dance. 2 people moving together in time, kept in graceful poise by each unfolding step to the rise and fall of a familiar melody. 'Tis a simple thing still, do you not think, to place your hand in the hand of another and to be led to the dance? But when you placed your hand in mine, you raised me to a prince amongst men. You, my first lady, the crown of my heart, the desire of my soul, and I was proud to have you at my side. Should all the world have seen my elation, I should not have cared, for love gripped me, and 'tis love that grips me still. For all the days and for all the distance, it has not died within me, but it burns, bright and deep and new, for you, my love, only for you. Though it pains me to know I shall never know the touch of your gentle hand again, know I have lived a lifetime in the bliss of that dance with you. For my part, I have never once reconsidered my troth to you. For now, for always, I am yours. Ranald MacDonald, 18th Chief of Clan Ranald, formerly Captain, Clan Ranald Regiment.